Hey guys, how's it going? So as you know, this week we are talking about a topic of our own choice. I've decided to talk about something very geographically close to home. So if you didn't know, this week in Europe there has been the European election type things, and there have also been local elections in the UK. Essentially, because I'm not overly good at explaining political things like this, what it is there were two parties that you could vote for. One for representation in Europe and basically our future in Europe, and the second was literally just local elections, so elections for your local council and who would be representing it. So I'm not yet 18, which means I can't actually vote, but I was still very interested about how these votes were going to turn out, because next year in the general election I will be able to vote, which is when we obviously vote for the overall government. Now, in the UK there's like two main parties, which are Labour and Conservative. At the moment Conservatives are in power, but they share the power in a coalition government with the Liberal Democrats, who are kind of the party that just wanted their 15 minutes of fame, and now that's kind of over for them. I was fine with the elections until it came to the fact that the majority of votes were given to UKIP. This is part of the video where I'm probably going to start to sound really ranty, but if you guys stay with the video you'll understand why. So UKIP stands for the UK, obviously, Independence Party, and it is a thinly disguised racist political party. Just to let you guys know the political situation, UKIP had 27.5% of votes, Labour had 25.4% of votes, Conservative had 23.94%. So that in itself just shows you sort of, the sort of proportions of how many votes the parties are getting. My problem is the policy of UKIP. They literally typify everything that I hate in a political party. They're homophobic, they're misogynistic, and they're racist. I understand immigration policy to some extent, because I understand that immigrants in the UK have now become a scapegoat for almost every single problem we have. Something's wrong with the economy, oh, it must be the immigrants. Something's wrong with housing, oh, it must be the immigrants. Something's wrong with the fucking football stadium, it must be immigrants. And essentially immigrants, particularly those from Eastern Europe, have become scapegoats. And one of my biggest problems is when people / candidates of UKIP say, oh, well, we're not worried about you in particular, talk to me, because you're not that type of immigrant. A few years ago when my granddad and my grandma came here, they would be that type of immigrant. Just because the actual group changes doesn't change the complete discrimination behind what you're saying. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, before the actual election results came through, I thought UKIP were a bit of a joke. Like, I thought that some of their policies are so ridiculous that people couldn't possibly vote for them. Let me just kind of read out to you some of the stuff that members or actual representatives of the party have said. So, on women, one of the members of the party have said, no employer with a brain in the right place would employ a young, single, free woman. I'm sorry, but wasn't anyone going to tell me that we've just reverted back to the 1930s? Because honestly, I don't understand how someone can still say a misogynistic comment like that without complete and utter uproar. Like, I don't understand why someone has said that and other people have accepted that and still voted for that party. But it gets worse. As for links between homosexuality and paedophilia, there is so much evidence that even a full-length book could hardly do justice to the subject. Okay, so we have just got marriage equality here in the UK. I believe it was March of this year. And now we are voting into power a party that is essentially saying that all homosexuals are paedophiles. So really good job, Britain. We're really progressing really far. And one of my favourites, some homosexuals prefer sex with animals. Can we talk about the lack of relevance? Can we just talk about how this party has actually got the majority of votes in Britain. Can we talk about how people are legitimately voting for this party? I personally just do not understand how people are voting for it. It's like clear from what members of the party have said that they are misogynistic and they are homophobic, and they don't even try to disguise it really. The only thing that they fully disguise is their racism, because they don't want to be branded as a racist party. What they do is they just sort of place the blame on one or two groups in society, which we know from history is completely wrong and could go a completely different direction. And I think we all know that I'm alluding to Nazi Germany. Jewish people were used as a scapegoat. Yeah, I'm not comparing Britain now to Nazi Germany in the 1930s and 40s, but if we don't stop this sort of ridiculousness, then we may end up there. I feel like the problem is not that people actually believe these things. I think the problem is that people are uneducated politically. I think for the average person in Britain, they'll see UKIP, they'll see the policies that they're proposing and think, yeah, they're going to solve things. And the thing is, people in Britain have essentially lost all their faith in more traditional parties like Labour and Conservative. So people are bound to turn to new parties like UKIP, but I feel like it's not the answer at all. And I don't understand how anyone with an education can vote for UKIP. I don't understand how they can believe that inequality is the answer. Okay, so like I've mentioned before, a huge part of these elections were part of the European elections. UKIP essentially wants Britain and the UK to leave the European Union. The reasons for this is that they want to be able to tighten immigration. They want to ban things like the burqa, so clearly not racist at all. They essentially believe that there should be no political correctness, so they want an excuse to be racist. They also want to get rid of paid maternity leave. Okay, really good idea. What could possibly go wrong? It's not as if there's single mothers out there who may or may not be having children and may or may not need money to look after these children. I am becoming very scared of dangerous political trends in the UK, and while I was researching this video, just to get you guys percentages and get quotes of the idiotic members of the party, I found out that this isn't only a dangerous trend in Britain, and that it's also something that's happening in various places in Europe. So for example, I know in France, basically the French UKIP, who are called the Front National, won the European election. They too apparently have homophobic and racist political views. It seems that what there seems to be is an overwhelming movement from the left to the right, and the problem with this is, what if we just go too far? And for clear reasons, I am completely against UKIP, and it is very scary for me that there are similar trends happening across Europe, and I feel like we need to have some sort of education for everyone in the UK on political parties, on the voting system, on policies, on everything. Because to be honest, if it wasn't for just my general interests in politics, then I would not have any idea what's going on. Another thing in the UK that particularly makes me doubt the political system is the low turnout that we have. So I'm not sure about exact percentages, but I know the turnout for voting this year was extremely low. And I think, again, that's linked to a sort of lack of faith in traditional parties, and also this idea that people think they can't make a difference. I think we need to change the whole mentality of voting, that people need to know that their vote does make a difference and they can make a change. And I think as someone who doesn't actually have the vote yet, it means a lot more to me than it may mean to other people, because I'm sad knowing that so many people have wasted their right to vote, and yet I don't have that right. Hopefully come next year there'll be a much bigger turnout, and it means more people that understand that the policies of UKIP are not what the UK needs are going to be the ones who are voting, as opposed to people that are easily impressionable by idealistic policies. I mean, I'm not sure if I actually spread any light on the situation, but to be honest, it's something I had to get off my chest, because I don't understand why more people aren't angry about the power that UKIP now hold. If you guys are interested, I'll post some links down below of the sort of websites that I looked at when I was researching. I shall see you guys next week for another video, and I hope that you found this sort of video interesting, and if you did, please make sure to let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Bye!